Okay, this is just very quickly how to do the dog. There are a couple ways to do it. I'm just going to show you one of many. So first I'm going to duplicate my background. I'm going to get rid of the white. So I'm going to turn this guy off, and I'm going to go to my magic wand tool here. I've got my tolerance set down to 4. If I've got it too high like this, 32, it selects too much. So I'm going to set it down at 4, which I already know works, and it just selects the white. I hit delete on my keyboard and it wipes out all the white, leaving me with the transparent background. I'm going to roughly select using the lasso tool the face of the dog. I'm going to give myself a little bit of leeway around the dog so that I have something to erase afterwards. So I'm purposely getting more than I need. Copy, paste, puts it on a new layer. Command T. I'm going to edit, transform this, and just flip it horizontally. And then I'm going to rotate it until it roughly lines up. So about there. Okay, now this makes the dog's face look a little flat. So a little trick I like to do is I like to use edit, transform, and distort. Okay, and what distort is going to do, so notice if I just use the transform, if I leave it the way it is, I can't change. I can squish it this way if I hold shift, right? But that's not much good. What I want to do is I want to distort. So I'm going to go edit. There are other ways to do this, but I'm going to just use this as a very simple one. Distort, and what that does is I can pick up one of the corners and it sort of envelope distorts. See the gizmo, the square, is changing to like a polygon, right? And that gives it like just a little bit of roundness. So I can then take this and kind of align. I'm looking here. Okay, so I'm going to align that. Maybe I'll zoom in a little. Okay, and I'm just going to get that pretty close. Same thing with the bottom here. I'm going to grab this one here and drag that until the bottom of his mouth lines up. Now, depending on how you did this, you may end up with the nose being a little bit squished. So you may have to go in, or like weirdly aligned here. You may have to go and grab another copy of the nose and Photoshop that in with like just sort of on top of everything. But I'm not going to do that. You can figure out how to do that part. Okay, so I'm going to, a bit tight there. Good, I'm going to apply that. Now there's this line here. This is on this layer, okay, in front of the second layer. So I'm going to go to my eraser tool, and I'm going to set a very small eraser with softness at 0%. Okay, and I'm going to click really close to. Let me zoom in and see if you can see what I'm doing. Okay, so I'm going to click right there. Now notice the softness of my brush is that. Okay, so I'm going to click right here. So it's not going to erase away all of it. Then I'm going to hold Shift and click here. It's going to take away. Like I did too much. I'm going to click right here and then to there, and I might actually even make my brush smaller. Right there, because I just want to get rid of that like 1 pixel there. Okay, hold Shift, draw a straight line, and what that's doing is just drawing a straight line with the eraser along that line of pixels that I want to get rid of. Okay, all the way up to the end. Okay, zoom out. That doesn't look too bad. I may, but now what I've done, you'll notice I've got like a soft edge here, and that soft edge is going to blend here. Okay, and that looks okay to me. Zoom that out. There are a couple ways to do the background here. We learned about cloud generate, which is okay. I'm going to pick a green. I'm going to pick one of these purples, Alt or Option, to set my background maybe to that purple. Create a new layer, and I'm going to go here. Click clouds. We did this in the Hawaii tutorial, and I'm going to go. I think it was filter, render clouds, which will give me kind of a variation on these colors, but it's not very good. So I may try another layer on top of that and go. And this is still not the best way to do it, so I'm going to go filter, render clouds. It'll give me another version. I might turn this down, okay, which gives me kind of the right hue, but I'm not terribly happy with that. I'm going to merge these down. Merge down, so they're one layer, and then I'm going to create a new layer. Okay, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to select just this area here. So I'm going to go to my lasso tool, and I'm just going to select fairly carefully just part of this here, this background. Okay, I'm going to copy it. Ooh, I'm in the right layer. I'm going to copy it, and then I'm going to paste it here. Okay, and what that gives me is this shape. I'm going to make some copies, holding Option on my keyboard. I'm going to, let me turn these guys off so you can see what I'm doing. Okay, I'm going to make some copies. Okay, and I'm purposely going to leave them with some space between them. So the way I refer to this in class is I'm creating a bunch of like islands, but I'm purposely leaving a little bit of space between each island so that they don't cross over. I don't want them to do that. Okay, I want there to be space, because what I'm going to do now is I'm going to select using my magic wand tool. So if you think of these as islands, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 islands, I want to select the sea or the lake or whatever this water is. I select here. Oops, hold on, let me layer, put all this on one layer. So hold shift, select all the island layers, right click, and merge these layers into one layer. And then I want to select the like not the island. I want to select all the kind of the body of water around the island. Okay, so I'm selecting for the water. If these were islands, this would be water. Now I want to select a little bit onto each shore. If this is the edge of the island, I want to go up a little bit onto that shore. So I'm going to go select, modify, and I'm going to expand my selection. Okay, right now my selection is the water. I'm going to take maybe 8 pixels of land as well, and that just goes up onto the edge. I'm going to go a bit more. I'm going to go select, modify, expand by, let's say 11. Okay, and that just goes up onto the shore of each of the islands. Okay, what that means is when I fill this in, because I'm now going to go edit, content aware fill, and content aware fill is going to use what I didn't select to fill in what I did select. So it's thinking about right here, and what it does is it does its best job of doing that. Now, if I didn't have that edge there, let me show you what would happen. I'm going to undo a step, and I'm going to go, okay, so I'm getting rid of going onto the beach, and I'm going to go edit, content aware fill, and when it does the same job, you'll be able to see the edges. See that? Okay, so I don't want that. I want to get rid of those. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to go edit, select, modify, expand by 11. It takes me up onto the edge of these to get rid of the sort of blending between them. And then again, edit, content aware fill. It's using what I didn't select to fill in what I did select. Okay, so it's using this stuff here to fill in the rest, and that's pretty good. And every time you do this, it'll redo it. It's a algorithm, so it'll give you a different result every time. So if you're not happy with it, you can redo it. I think this was the it'll redo it every time you do it. It'll redo that. Okay, but I'm happy with that, so I'm just going to go okay, and it'll add that to this. Select, deselect. That looks okay. Turn my dog faces back on. Okay, and now I just need to get rid of what's around the back of this. So I'm going to zoom in and figure out where all these seams are. So for example, this line right here, that is here. So I'm just going to take my eraser tool with a soft edge, pretty big eraser tool, like square bracket to go to the eraser, and I'm going to turn my brush is actually already at 0. So I'm just going to erase that away, and then down here I'm going to have a smaller brush as I get in close, and that's going to be okay. I'm going to use this, and on this layer here, I'm going to start to erase away what I don't need from this dog. So maybe a little smaller, square bracket. Okay, and because of that background, this blends fairly well. Okay, you may have to take a little more of this brush than you need. Sort of the ear, so I'm taking off more of the ear than I need. But because I've got a soft brush selected, it actually works okay. And patiently work your way through that. I'm going to kind of rush here because this is a tutorial, but the smaller and kind of more detail you get with that, the better that's going to look. Okay, but I'm going to rush it for the sake of this tutorial. Okay, and then I need, as I say, I left myself some space to erase what I don't need. So I'm going to go around here, get rid of these jowls, get rid of all this down here, this excess hair, and then blend away, and our background should blend fairly well. And I need to get rid of this line here, so I'm going to go back to this layer because that's where this is. I'm going to go with a bigger brush and just blend that away. No, that's all right. Now, one other thing I could do that could probably use a little bit of work in here on this layer, and you would probably do a better job than I'm doing. But the other thing I can do is I can use this blending tool. Okay, it's hidden under the blur tool, and it's called the smudge tool, and it's like if you're using a pencil and you took your finger and smudged the pencil, it smudges the lead, right? So say I have my strength up at 100 and I go to this layer, and with a brush this size, it smudges those pixels, okay? Say I have a bigger brush and I turn my strength down, it's a little bit of a softer smudge. Okay, so I'm just clicking and dragging it. And depending on how strong you have that, it's going to do more or less. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring my brush right down to like here, and I'm going to bring my strength down to about 50, give or take, and I'm just going to continue some of these lines out just to give, it's a pretty subtle effect, but what I'm doing is I'm extending some of these lines out. You can see it better there, because you just would have, in reality, because it's pretty blurry, it's not so bad, but like here, for example, you can see where some of those lines are, so I might extend some of these out just here and there to just give it a bit. Now, this takes a bit of time, and it depends on how much time you have and how realistic you need this to be, but this is a way to just increase the believability. Okay, and I'd say that's not bad. Okay.